So this is what it takes for people to finally start thinking and talking about the way we go about things. That maybe corporate interests ruling over everything isn't a good idea, since it will kill the surface of the planet, and yeah, it will. It will destroy the future for the children, yeah, it will. And of course everyone knows this logically, because progress doesn't give a damn about anything other than progress. Companies, large companies, and corporations only care about the bottom line. That's all they care about. You get to be on the board of directors by showing that you don't give a damn and you're willing to do anything, no matter how immoral, as long as you can get away with it, for the betterment of the corporate power. And this is the result. This is just one result. This oil rig, or whatever technically you would call this thing, you cannot tell me that they did not have backup plans for if there was an oil leak. An electric company plans for power outages, just like an oil company plans for problems as well. Spraying these dispersants everywhere is just the cheapest way they have of dealing with the problem. Now, they have been handing out a lot of checks to local businesses, which is silence some people who otherwise speak out more on the issue. I kind of wonder if they've been doing some bribing too, since a lot of these environmentalists who are supposed to be speaking out about this kind of thing really have been very, very soft in speaking out. And they've certainly been very easy on the government, on Obama especially. And so, I don't know. It seems like money just is what this is all about. Because after all, why this became a problem in the first place was because people wanted oil because they wanted money. And this bothers small companies because they're losing money. So, as long as they throw out a lot of money, then it's all right. And you know that BP are going to be the only party in this mess who aren't going to lose out. Like with Exxon, they got compensated for their loss. They call it a business expense, because they helped with the cleanup. So therefore they're compensated. And this is going to happen again for BP. Their argument to the government will be, well, you did it for Exxon, do it for us. They'll be the only party in this that won't lose out. But in the meanwhile, they care, right? They're trying, I guess, aren't they? To not really spraying dispersants everywhere. They could be doing something a lot more beneficial than that. They don't give a damn, and you have no idea how cold this corporation is. Probably, some of you do. Most people don't realize just how cold this corporation is. Any rate, for now, I'm just going to stick with the damage being done here. Dolphins dead as far as the eye can see. Previously endangered species being killed in large numbers. To briefly quote Jim Blackburn, Houston attorney, the Louisiana marshes may be lost forever. The vegetation likely will die. Right now there is significant erosion of Louisiana's marshes, even without the oil, and that vegetation holds the boot of Louisiana's together. If we lose that base that is holding the soil in place, the roots, the vegetation will eventually die. And by the way, I'll have it in the underbar here, a link that to a New York Times article that mentions how they were aware of a leak problem several days before the explosion, and they chose the cheaper of two methods to handle the problem, of course, because again, money. They're not ultimately going to be held accountable for this. And in fact, they have people, there's one interview, again I'll have it in the links, where a guy seems to really be defending them really obviously hard. And he's trying to put the blame on everything else but this corporation, trying to say the people are to blame because they demand low gas rates, and the president has to bear that in mind when it comes to shutting down oil operations. And yeah, that's true, there's truth in that. And he also tries to blame, he mentions there's other companies involved with BP, that they're not the only company involved, and of course trying to point the finger to the government, but also to the people. Now that's all true, and I'll get to that in a moment, but who did this? BP. I mean, trying to say that it's not necessarily entirely their fault is like saying that someone who loses it and goes out and kills a whole lot of innocent people isn't really to blame. Well, you could look at his past and see, well, okay, he was abused in the education system, he was abused in the foster care system, so society's really to blame, and there's truth in that. But at the same time, you're responsible for your own actions. BP made this mess. They're responsible. They're morally responsible for handling and fixing this problem. They should be doing a hell of a lot more than what they're doing to fix the problem, but they don't, because they're a corporate power, and corporate powers only care about the bottom line. They control everything. They do things the way they choose to do things. As long as they play the game, they'll get away with this. They won't lose anything in the end. The planet will lose. The future will lose. They won't lose anything. And finally, people are talking about this isn't right. The way that things work in this world, things really should change. And this problem alone by itself isn't going to change a thing any more than the O.J. Simpson case really changed the quality of justice in the world. No. These scenarios, these big events don't change anything. It's action that changes things. Action. This is a chance to inspire people to actually take action on these sorts of things. BP needs to be held at fault for all this. They should be compensated for nothing. They should be on their hands and knees every friggin' day apologizing to the planet for the lack of their basic common sense in maintaining this thing. Obviously, there are health and safety regulations that need to be enforced by the government, and a lot more inspections of these sorts of operations, but still, BP were responsible and are responsible for this mess. They have lied about the data. They are covering up the data. They are not allowing people onto a local beach to question the workers involved while they're on a break, even though they have no right, because they have no authority to prevent people from, reporters, from moving around on a public beach and speaking to their workers while they're on their break. They have no legal right to do this. And those media people should really be pressing charges on them from violating their human rights. Not just their rights as reporters, but human rights in general. They have no right to do this. And they have no right to lie about data. They have no right for any of this. The government should be suing their ass for a number of reasons. We, the people, should not be letting them off with this. This is going to damage far more than just the area of Louisiana. This is going to spread. If this is going to be, in my opinion, the worst man-made disaster in history, because as the number of experts are saying, it's only just begun. It's not just the water that's been polluted, it's the ocean floor and beneath the ocean floor now. The full extent of the damage being done, not to that area, because the oil is being taken through the ocean, through the current elsewhere. And God knows how much more of this oil is going to be spilling out. And it's not going to be fixed, because BP is not going to actually take the huge amount of expense necessary to actually repair the problem. They're going to BS around about it, and we're doing all we can. And that's all that they can BS like that, and that's acceptable. The way that our planet runs, that's part of the game. As long as they say they're doing their best, and they're actually out there spraying all this crap around, which some people are calling harmful, since a lot of people apparently have become sick. Plants are dying. Now that could be the oil fumes or something, but there are some questions about these dispersants. But anyway, as long as they're spraying all that crap around and they say we're doing our best, that's acceptable right now. What outrages me is that it's all about effing money, Everyone complains about money. Money being lost here, money being lost with this. You know what? There's something far, far, far more important than that. It's been damaged here. And I'm glad, like I say, that people are at least realizing this and talking about this and questioning the way that we look at things and we do things. Again, action is what we need to take. Any kind of action is better than nothing, because this situation is not going to do anything of any good. The only good that will come on this is action.